It happens thousands of times a day in every state in the Union. A patient checking into a hospital or other healthcare facility is asked, "Do you have an advance directive that spells out your healthcare wishes in case you can no longer tell us directly?" That requirement to check for an advance directive is in place in large part due to the efforts of the Center for Practical Bioethics dating back to the 1980s, when doctors were struggling with the myriad of complicated choices presented by rapidly advancing medical technology.
It was really around grappling with the newfound powers of medicine. And it was this new capacity to sustain life-sustaining treatment virtually indefinitely. So there was this tension in medicine, and people were really grappling with what was the right thing to do. We made a decision that the thing to do was to bring the players to the table and to convene a group, and the obvious players were the Metropolitan Medical Society and the Greater Kansas City Bar Association, and to sit down and talk about the issues together.
The result was the center's living will document, embraced by doctors and lawyers and adopted by every hospital in Kansas City.
The idea that there was a resource that could help ordinary citizens be effective in making their wishes known, I just thought it was a wonderful project. The development of this while I was on the board was a real exciting step forward.
And the center's work was about to expand. In the summer of 1987, an attorney contacted the center about a case in southwest Missouri involving a young woman who had been in a serious car accident. Her parents had reached the sad decision that the time had come to remove life support. That young woman was Nancy Krizan.
One of the lawyers at my firm at the time, Shook, Hardy & Bacon, knew of the Bioethics Center. He gave me the number. I gave them a phone call. I talked to Myra that day, and she sent me over in the mail. There's no fax machine. Bioethics Center didn't have a fax machine. Sent me over a couple of articles about feeding tubes, and our relationship began. And we started together and in the broader society to start to figure out some very hard questions about when we use medical technology and when we stop. The Krizan case established for the first time the constitutional right that you, I, and everyone in this country has to make decisions about our own medical treatment, including, if we choose, to refuse medical treatment.
I never could have imagined that day the impact that that case would have on our organization, or the impact that that case would have on this country.
As the Krizan case became more and more public, it caught the attention of Missouri Senator John Danforth. He contacted the center about legislation he was considering with New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Ultimately, that legislation became federal law, the Patient Self-Determination Act.
He said to me that he was aware of what had happened in Kansas City, and he wondered if I thought that that could be replicated nationally. And I said I didn't see any reason why not. So we worked with his staff to craft some legislation that basically said that when people were admitted to an institution, a hospital, a nursing home, a hospice, or when they enrolled into a managed care plan, that they have to be told about their rights and be offered the opportunity to make an advance directive if they didn't have one.
Because of the work of the center, families today are in a position to make their medical wishes known, though some still hesitate.
Many times we have patients who have procrastinated putting the advance directive in place, family that have not been comfortable in talking with their loved one, what they would want to be done in the time when they would have to make those decisions, and they want to do it when it's too late. I like to tell them it's a gift to their family, so that they can put into writing what they want, so that when the difficult time happens, then they don't have to put their family through the emotional turmoil that happens in the decision making when they have not expressed their wishes.
I had a very difficult time discussing end-of-life issues, and I was one of those people that would say, well, let's do it tomorrow. It's not a very pleasant subject to talk about. And of course, he just was very persistent. He said, you know, this is something we need to do. And then with his persistence and the fact that I was working with this hospital attorney, and I saw the benefit of advanced planning changed my mind. I was just delighted that I was able to carry out his wishes, and I was able to do exactly what he wanted. And I think it relieved me of having to make some very difficult decisions at a time when I really needed to focus on other important issues.
The center continues to improve advanced care planning, offering caring conversations as a guide to help individuals and their families share meaningful conversation while making practical preparations for end of life.
The black and white of the law is only so effective in the massive gray area that is serious illness and dying. And what is required is important, often emotional, sometimes hard discussion about what's the purpose of medical treatment, when do we use it, but when does it not make sense to use that treatment?
Building on work with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the center is leading the way on a variety of fronts, working with the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta to make advanced directives a part of public health education, with Rand Health in Washington on a report they'll deliver to Congress this summer, with the National Association of Attorneys General in all 50 states to maximize consumer protection, with the American Pain Foundation to balance pain treatment and potential abuse, and with dozens of organizations as a national leader of the first National Healthcare Decisions Day, tomorrow.
We're saying do 3 things. Think about these issues, talk with your family and your physician about them, and name a durable power of attorney.
My only wish is it should grow and flourish, because I think it plays a very special role, because not many people take the time to think about these things ahead of time.
It's going to be so much more a part of how we live in the years straight ahead that it's hard for me to even conceive, but I'm confident that the center will be directly involved locally, nationally, in leading that discussion.